Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about password reset in Entra ID. And it is not applicable only to Entra ID, but it also applicable to hybrid environments, right? And there are different scenarios, and depending on the use cases, basically depend on the environment, how the organization is looking into it to deploy the password reset capability. And many organizations and different requirements comes in when there is something when the overall initiative is to go ahead and implement SSPR, self-service password reset, so that people can go ahead and reset their own passwords. And it also helps in reducing number of help desk calls, tickets, and that big chaos, right? That is something which comes in picture when people are simply stuck and they are not able to log into the system. And now there is also another part of that is to communicate the change as well as how we can educate the users, right? And there are different scenarios where people and the org-wide initiatives to take it further to educate people on those levels, and people can understand that situation that they need, or they know how to change their own passwords as well as what they need to do, where they need to reach out in case they are not able to do it, right? So all of that stuff is something which is additional part of it. But in this video, I'm going to talk more into the technical part of it, how we can do that, and what are the things that we should do in order to enforce the password reset with the two-factor authentication at the same time, right? So let's go ahead and start. So before that, I will talk a bit about what is password reset and whether it is still applicable in both scenarios between cloud-only environments as well as hybrid environments, right? And so these are the two areas where password reset is going to be available, as well as still many organizations are using it. And that's not a new capability at this moment, but definitely it is going to be helpful for anyone and who is new and they wanted to explore more on it, right? So what is this self-service password reset? So it is going to be the Entra capability that is going to be allowed or being used for password changes or resetting the passwords on behalf of IT or without IT intervention at all, right? So as I said, this is going to help IT teams and help desk teams to reduce the number of tickets and call flows as well, and people can themselves reset their passwords and access the resources that they need, right? And while implementing this one, we need to make sure we are enforcing a right set of configurations and policies so that people are going to be validating themselves with the right set of identity and credentials, right? So that we are enforcing them to validate the identity first by setting up the right set of policies, and they are going to uh, follow the process. So there should be a process to be built that they need to follow it, and then they are going to reset. Otherwise, it would be something like anyone can go ahead and directly reset the passwords. That's not the case here, and this is not the right way to protect the identity as well, right? So this way we have to go through the some of the certain steps, and those steps should be enforcing the right set of process to build, and then users can simply follow those in order to reset their own passwords, right? So while enabling the self-service password reset from Entra ID, we need to make sure selecting the right set of groups and users when we are enforcing it. So that's kind of if we are starting up with a pilot group, definitely pilot group would be the part of it. But if it is going to be a broader level or broader group across the organization, then it is going to be the whole organizations in that case. And that's something which comes in picture or which comes in confidence when we have tested it. We have full confidence in it that this is going to work effectively and it is not going to break anything. Otherwise, that's going to simply uh, going to become a disaster later. So that should not be the case, and this needs thoroughly testing on it, and then it is going to be easy for us to go ahead and make it broader, right? So there are certain steps from properties as well as from authentication methods and number of authentication method requires that we wanted to set up, and the registration of multi-factor authentication, right? So why we wanted to enforce these additional methods or additional steps there, because we wanted to make sure the identities are validated appropriately. And once those are validated and verified from Entra side, that means those identities are part of our Entra and our domain specifically, right? And then we can enforce the right set of policies as well as right set of controls on those identities, and people can validate those. So I'm going to share screen and show you, but before that, I wanted to talk a bit about in on-premises context, right? So when we are going to, or we have the on-premises environment, and we wanted to let people leverage the cloud capability, which is self-service password reset, in order to reset their own passwords, right? We should have integrated or enabled feature called a write back, right? So that's something which needs to be enabled, and once that is enabled, then it is going to let users to reset the passwords when user accounts are synchronized from on-premises to the cloud using Azure AD Connect or Entra ID Connect tool, right? And then we have to set the allow permissions or allow password reset permissions to the synced OUs or users and a group of users, basically, whichever part are part of synchronizations from on-premises to cloud, right? So that's something which we need to make that possible, and then it is going to allow. Otherwise, it is not going to be allowing that one. So in this specific demo, I'm going to show mostly onto the cloud side, not the on-premises side. Definitely on the on-premises side, there is a complete process that we need to take from starting from, if we are starting from scratch, like building the Entra Connect tool or Entra Connect server, and then synchronize with on-premises to the cloud, and then set up it. Even if we have set it up completely and then we wanted to rewind back, go back and change that configurations, definitely we can do that. And then we can enable self-service password reset, and then it is going to be enabled for the whole organization. And also, there are ways how we wanted to enforce the password reset, right? So by using conditional access policy and multi-factor authentication together to enforce it, to users to ask reset their own password, so that users can simply change the passwords and they don't have to, or they have to validate the identity first, and then they are going to reset their own passwords, because validation is very important. Even if someone tries to access something, then they have to validate that they are the right set of identity or right set of users, and they are not someone who is trying to just get into the system without any validation or authenticating, right? So let's go ahead and I'll share the screen quickly here, and I will show you the steps, or probably you might have seen that one, but still I will simply show you from here. All right, so I am here on Entra portal, right? And from here you can see that we need to go to protection section here and then password reset. Now, once we are here, we see bunch of options here, and all of these options are available on both sides, in the cloud only as well as on premises, majorly into the on-premise cloud only, not the on-premises. So we have one of the integration section here, which is available for on-premises, to make it available between cloud and on-premises server for password synchronization, and that agent is going to take that change, right? So on the first, under the property section, here we have password self-service password reset, which is enabled for all. That means it is allowing all the user accounts across this tenant and this organization, right? If I select none, it is not going to allow it at all. If I set to selected, that means it is going to allow me to select a respective group from here, and I can add that group, and that group would be scoped to it, right? So for now, I have selected it to all users, so it is going to make sure all the users across the organization are allowed to change their own passwords. As this is a pure cloud only environment, so there is no hybrid environment. But in the hybrid environment also, we need to make sure it is all, and then once we have a hybrid environment, we need to make sure the on-premises agent is also connected to the environment, and a write back is also enabled there. Then the other methods or other options, we have authentication methods. Whichever authentication methods we wanted to select and enforce during the password reset process, we can select those here, and we can make sure user has those options to reset their passwords, and they have to validate those. Either of these can be selected, or you can select anyone, but maybe if you select more than one or two, that's going to be cumbersome, and user has to go through all those validation process. So that may not be the right user experience, and that's something going to impact the user experience later. The next one is registration. So this is a registration process wherein we are enforcing users to register to the MFA, right? So this number can be lesser, or even we can change this number to 1 day, right? And this way, or even if we wanted to set it to 0 day, that means number of days before users are asked to reconfirm their authentication information. So this is something on the confirmation side, and that is why it is not good option to set it to 0 day. Instead of making that, we can set it to 30 days, which seems ideal and which seems good to, and that is manageable for users to re-authenticate and confirm their identity as well, right? So once they confirm, that means they are the active users, as well as they are using it with appropriate conditions or appropriate credentials, basically. And here is the option which says require users to register when signing in. So this means that they have to register to the MFA, right? And if they are not, or if we set it to no, that means they are not going to register, and we don't get this option as well, right? So we have to enforce this one, because we don't want users to be without MFA at all, and that's going to add additional layer of security on identities. Next, this is the notification part. This is not for end users. Here we have option which if in case we wanted to notify them, we can enable this. But maybe sometimes, or depends on the organization to organization, how they wanted to notify and educate users, then we can enable that one, yes or no. And on the admin side also, we can set it to yes or no if we wanted to notify administrators as well. On the customization, so this is something on the help desk side, when we wanted to make sure end users should have options to reach out to help desk, right? So this is the option where we can either put help desk email address or the help desk portal. From here, users can simply go to that respective URL or send an email directly to reach out to the help desk team and get the support and assistance that they need, right? So this is that option, and that's pretty straightforward, either yes or no, and you are good to go. This next option here, which says on-premises integrations. So this is going to be the integrations to write back the passwords between on-premises to cloud, or majorly the cloud, because when user changes the password from cloud, that password should be write back to the on-premises, and then write back as in it is not going to write the whole password. Instead, it is going to write back to the hashes of hashes, right? So even while making that configurations between cloud and on-premises, we need to select the right set of authentication method, be it PTA, which is pass-through authentication, or password hash synchronization. So majorly password hash synchronization is going to be the right set of option here when we are making these integrations, right? And it is going to synchronize those hash or password hashes from cloud to on-premise, and it is going to allow users to synchronize as well as use those credentials between on-premises and cloud, and that's going to be easy as well as improving on user experience. And the same credentials can be leveraged and used for both scenarios, be it uh, in-house developed applications or systems or whatever the applications that they are using, as well as the cloud systems. And here is the option, which is administrator policy. So this is basically a option which is just going to show us whatever the options we have configured, all of those are showing up. And it was earlier here, but it is moved to another section, which is something which is going to show different policies that we can build with the different roles, right? And all of that is going to be shown here under the document, right? And other activities, including audit logs, usage and insights. So that's a part of our auditing activities. And here you can see all the records. It's on 10th February. Self-service password management was then on the user management category, a reset password by administrator for one of the user, and it was successful. So if I click on this date and time, you can see that what was the activity and user management category, who is the administrator, and then who is the target. So this is very important. So this was the target user. For this user account, administrator had changed the password and then modified properties if there are any. So this is going to capture all of those activities and is going to show us. So this is also very useful to see and what are the experience, what are the changes happened on self-service password reset. So this is kind of complete log details and which we can export. So here's the download button, then data, export data settings, and there's the classic view as well. So this is a classic experience. We can come back and see this. So here also we will see the same details, and there is no difference, but it is just a classic experience than the newer one, right? And we can go back, and next, usage and insights. So here we have the usage as well as the insights of the password reset, as well as the authentication methods and registrations and whatever it is was configured, right? So here you can see that a registration section and then usage, how the sign-ins by authentication requirement as well as sign-ins by authentication methods. So whichever it is going to show us, and all of that is going to be single factor authentication was done by 194 times, and MFA was 174. So this is very helpful as well, where we can see how the details is being used or how people are using the passwordless authentication or any authentication methods that we have set up, and how many people have registered to which method. So here you can see users registered by authentication methods. So mobile authenticator, software tokens, Windows Hello for Business, email, and Office phone or passkey, right? And in total, we see 65 count, right? So this is very useful and is going to show us all the details there. And then I think here we can try for last 1 month. Perfect. So here we have Microsoft Authenticator and mobile. So there are almost total 4 activities, and all those 4 are success, right? And here it gives us the areas on which area we need to improve on, right? 3 of 106 in total. So it says that 97% of your organization is not capable of passwordless authentication. That means we have an opportunity here to go ahead and improve on it and see what are the changes or what are the required things that we should do so that we can implement passwordless authentications and we can leverage the right set of passwordless authentication methods and then reduce the password fatigues. In this, which says users capable of self-service password reset, which says 87% of your organization is not enabled for the SSPR. That means users have not enabled to the SSPR. They have not registered to the SSPR at all, and they have to go ahead and register it. So these are the scenarios where we need to take a look and have to enforce those, and user has to simply register for SSPR so that they cannot or they won't be stuck in a situations when they need to get into the system again. And in the first section here, you see users capable of Azure multi-factor authentication. So out of all users, 73% of your organization is not capable for this. That means there are accounts, those have not used or registered for MFA at all. Here it says not capable. That means those are not enabled at all. So these are the different accounts that they have not set up MFA on those accounts. Right. Similarly, you can see that let's say passwordless authentication, and it is going to show us the detail. Wherever you see not capable, that means that account is not simply capable of any of these things. And wherever you see the capable, that means those are, but in the passwordless section, it is not capable. Let's say even if this account has MFA setup, SSPR enabled, but it is not enabled or set up with passwordless at all, right? So this way we have to come back here and see this report and analyze it and enforce all those capabilities that we are enforcing, as well as we are taking up the initiatives to make sure SSPR is enabled, passwordless authentication is enabled, as well as multi-factor authentication is also enabled appropriately. And on the self-service, here also we can see the same, which is going to show us all of that. And currently we don't see any records or results, but it is not enabled for all of that account. Let me remove that. Oh, there is no results. So here, even if we try to search, it is not going to show any records because there are not any results. But there are all those records. It is not showing up simply. Let me find it. All. Let's try not capable instead of all, and we should see something. Oh, it is not showing up. So it is not showing that record here, but definitely whatever the record it is showing, that is something basis on the all the identities that we are seeing under this MFA as well as passwordless authentications. But here we are seeing that which account is not capable of SSPR. So here this is not capable. That means this account or this account, it does not have SSPR enabled, right? So yeah, that is all for this video I wanted to show you and talk about, and hope this will be helpful. Hope you will learn something new, and please do share this with your friends, colleagues, and whoever needs to see and watch. And yep, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.